This base has started. So it's time to celebrate our third anniversary, and we want to invite you guys to come and join with us for sure. Not only that, you're getting 3 weeks in one go. Stick around, don't move. Awesome stories coming up. Yeah, man. Hey guys, good morning and welcome back to my channel. I missed you guys a lot because I was not able to do my report for the last 3 weeks, and God has been doing some amazing things. The current local time is 6:21 a.m. June 28th. Yes, and that's how early it is. I got up from about 4 o'clock and I'm here to share this live report with you. So, I want to welcome you to Mission Flight Report. This is episode 9. I hope it's saying 9 on your screen. Are you seeing 9 on your screen? Yes, there it is. It's episode 9, and the caption is third year anniversary coming up. Yes, so in a few days, we're going to be celebrating our third year anniversary since we officially launched this base with an airplane that is fully paid for. And I'm multitasking right now because I have some amazing followers in some various groups, and I don't want them to miss out. So I'm taking the time out right now to share and invite people to come and hear these amazing things for themselves. On your screen, you can see it right there that we are inviting you. Yes, we're going to have it live, we're going to have it recorded, and we're gonna celebrate in person at the hangar. So we got some food and beverages lined up. And if people are lucky enough and motivated and the weather is right, depending on who comes out to the base for this third year anniversary celebration on July 2, they might get a chance to get a little joyride in the pattern. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that's something that I have up my sleeve. So if you want to ever come out, I don't know what part of the Philippines you are, but if you're close enough and you think you want to come by, you have to let us know before July 1 so we can factor you in seats and food, and we'll definitely tell you where to find the base with an address. All right, so that's what I'd love to share with you guys this morning, that we're going to be celebrating our third year anniversary. And that's something that you cannot afford to miss. If you're not able to join, for those in the West, it's all right. Mikey already contacted him, so he's going to have amazing footage. So we're going to be recording it. We have an element of surprise. Unbeknown to a lot of you guys, we have approximately 5 new missionaries that has joined us. They've been working hard behind the scenes, and I definitely would love for you guys to meet them, get to know them a little bit more, right? And so you cannot afford to miss that whatsoever. So you got to stay tuned to meet these 5 amazing guys. One is a part-time nurse that volunteers we have one Canadian and three awesome Filipinos. So yeah, you cannot afford to miss that. Announcement coming up is basically I'm on call right now for a flight possibly tomorrow. That's gonna take me 2 days to complete that mission. So in theory, if it gets confirmed between now and tonight, I'm heading all the way to Mindanao tomorrow, if this was to come through, that is. So the family, they're still deciding on what they're trying to do. And if it comes through, then yeah, I'll be leaving tomorrow and I'm gonna be back on Monday. Not only that, we have a potential new missionary who has been serving relentlessly for the last 5 months in Mindoro, and we're looking to partner up and adopt her. She's doing some amazing things in Mindoro, and she arrives tomorrow. So we're picking her up at the airport. That's another element of surprise that we're hoping to share with you at the third year anniversary celebration there at the hangar. It's going to be live, it's going to be recorded and broadcast to you guys, so you won't miss anything. Trust me, you can either join in person or you can join it virtually. Food, yeah, you'll see pictures and videos, but you won't be able to taste. But nonetheless, we will pop a drink on your behalf for sure, because you guys are amazing and awesome. So that's coming up. We are also working on the airplane, so we do have some areas of concern that's coming up. But God has provided the means already. We need to change one of the cylinders. Something is going on with it, that the fix is going to be putting a new cylinder on the airplane. It costs about 1,200 US dollars for the cylinder and stuff. And within 2 minutes of posting that need, asking for prayer for that, God already provided the means to get that cylinder. So the money is there. And we have a mechanic here in the Philippines who has some experience. He's like very experienced with pulling cylinders on and off. He said it's gonna take him about 2 or 3 days. So I'm excited for that. You know me, I'm a grease monkey. I'm gonna be shoulder to shoulder with that mechanic, learning all I can about pulling off and putting on a cylinder. The insurance is coming up, guys. The insurance is coming up. It's gonna be due in July. I think it's the second week of July, if my memory serves me correct. It should be the same because we haven't crashed or damaged anything, so our premium hasn't moved, and it's $2,250. So put that in your prayer journal, that we are praying for 2,250 US dollars to cover for the insurance. And once we pay that in July, it will take us to December. So it's a 6 month interval. It's really awesome that the insurance company allows us to just worry about 50% every 6 months, because honestly raising 4,000 plus is not easy. So I'm happy that we can pay it every 6 months, and that minimize the drastic need for a big amount of money. So shout out to our insurance company. We carry liability only. So if anything happens and the plane gets damaged, etc., if it's beyond repair, that's it. But if it's repairable, we'll just restore it and we keep going. But I think, yeah, the insurance pays up to $1 million, and it covers everyone on board, from the pilot to the nurse, the doctor, everyone on board is covered under that insurance. That's it for announcements for now. If I remember anything else further down the road, I'll be more than happy to share that with you. So let's get in the report. We ended the last report where I got my license renewed. So that was really awesome to be able to have that um, renewed. And then after that, I just decided, since the airplane was kind of sitting out in the the jungles of Palawan, they're getting all saturated with water and stuff. What I did, I pull out the carpet and decided to give it a little bit of TLC. So we washed it. This photo is a before picture of the actual. Now, let me see if I can manipulate this a little bit more for you guys to be able to see it. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And then if I go to, there we go. Okay. So this is a before picture. So after washing it, we put some wax on it. Okay. That's what it looks like. Do you guys see that? Just beautiful, right? And it is said that it's a little faster when you wax it because it makes it more streamlined. That water gets on it, the wind is blowing over it, so you'll get maybe 2 knots faster if you have it all nice and waxed. And when it's out in the rain, the water repels a bit, so it's like a lizard skin where the water just falls off quickly, and that's helpful for just once it's in a lot of rain and all that moisture coming on. So it's very helpful. These are the guys who made that possible. Yep, they worked with me very hard to ensure that that plane got um, the buffer and the polish that it needed. I do have a video of their work, so they joined me, and I'll tell you about who these guys are when we are at our anniversary celebration. So we're just showing you the work that they did during that time. So let's go over to pick up some videos. So there we go. Getting that buffing on there, get that waxing. I had showed them how to lean and watch it at different angles so you don't miss anything. And so they were really awesome, and that plane was mint when they were finished. Some people might think it's a little bit extra, but for me, as I said, I when I have these little down times, it's just my way of saying, you know what, this thing is from 1975, but who cares? Let's treat it like it's fresh off the manufacturer's factory, so to speak. And that's the finished product. So as you can see, nice and glisten. But basically, the buffering, when we buffer it, polish it and wax it, etc., we're putting a protective layer that will give us a level of protection against the elements, particularly rain. This airplane had some corrosion issues before, and this is just one of my way of doing all I can to not run into that corrosion issue. It's a really old airplane, and so the less water gets on it and stays on it, the better life will be for all of us. Okay, right after we got the plane nice waxed and everything, we went out and there was a mission that was coming up. But before the mission, we had a that pending appointment I was telling you guys about. It's a youth conference. A lot of people are so boosted up about it. For me, I'm new to it basically, but nonetheless, I got a chance. So it's called PYC, Philippine Youth for Christ 2025. And I was invited. I got a chance to have a little booth, and I got a chance to be a part of a presentation under Farm Stew, a training that I did in February of this year. And I did get 3 minutes. Yes, I got 3 minutes to share Flying by Faith and invite people at the conference to subscribe to my channel. So if you're from PYC 2025 there in Bacolod, want to say good morning and shout out to you. I took a lot of selfie with a lot of the new followers. A number of people there were already following me on social media. Yes, like one of the cameraman shooting all the videos and stuff came up to me. He's like, "Are you Flying by Faith?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "I follow you." So I did run into some people who were following me already, and we want to say shout out to those guys. So they've given birth to these stickers. So I'm gonna remove the PYC 2025, and I'm gonna have those stickers that I'm gonna be sharing with you guys. So if ever you want a sticker, um, yes, we do have some merch options coming up, guys. Yes, merch is coming. You have to stay tuned to the channel to know when these merches are gonna be released. We're gonna have them in the US, we're gonna have them Canada, and we're gonna have it here in the Philippines. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Shirts are coming, stickers are coming, and we have some other things that I'm working on so yeah, the next phase for the next 6 months, we're gonna be working on some things, and it's gonna be awesome. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. This is the weather for that mission. So I have a video. This was the weather that I've been monitoring for this mission. I got this mission done on the 9th of June, I believe. Yes, 9th of June, somewhere there about. And I mean, it was just one of those things where you're just monitoring and monitoring and monitoring, and boy, wasn't it easy. So they were embedded thunderstorm. It cleared up, and I got an opening, and so I went in, and I had Nurse Jin with me for this mission. So it was one of those missions where, even though you're not in the clouds, we are picking up rain. So it was one of those days where you're like, man. But then as we got closer to the airport, there you go. So see the rain still there. We're still below the clouds. We're clear of clouds. This is Cuyo Island. Cuyo Island. It's a senior lady that broke her leg. Yes, she had broken her leg. 91-year old. Yes, about 91 years old. So she's in her 90s. She slipped. I think they said she was cleaning up the yard or something, and she fell. And it's one of those injuries. So I got some feedback from a number of guys on my channel, and I found out that with that injury that she had, if you don't remedy it at her age and where the injury is, because it broke off, right? It's completely broken, it can lead to an infection, and that infection can later on become um, toxic and even cause death because it will begin to poison the body. So basically, that's why we had to rush her, but the weather was not cooperating as much. So we had to be going back and forth, whether it's on and off, until finally it opened up and I was able to get that mission done. All right. So these are some pictures of actually getting in there. So this is we've arrived at Cuyo finally, in spite of the challenges with the weather, and we were able to get the mission done. I have some videos of when we loaded up the patient and so on. So let's go outside the studio and capture a little video moment that I want to share with you guys. I don't think there's any audio for it, by the way. Oh yeah, there's a little audio. All right, so that was Nurse Jin, basically going through the endorsement process for the mission, and yeah, we were able to pick her up. One thing I like is she was not in a lot of pain during the flight, and when we were loading her, I didn't see her like so they did a really good job. The hospital did a very good job to splint the leg. So she did have a splint to secure it. And so when you're loading them, that's when you'll see them really in excruciating pain because of the movement to get them in that small airplane. But I was looking for her face to flint a little bit. It didn't, so that's good. But I know, it still hurt, but not as much. For the flight, an hour and about 30 minutes to get her from her island to where she needed to be. She was sleeping most of the time because I kept looking back ever so often to check on her, and she was sleeping. Basically, she was just nicely asleep, and that always gives me comfort when I look back and I see someone asleep in the back. I said, yes, good, good, good experience. um what else? We had the other missionary pilot and his nurse. You'll have their pictures here shortly. They were doing a mission as well, not the same airport, but we were close enough to communicate on the radio. So shout out to Nurse Diane, one of the dispatch there in the other base, and she helps me to coordinate a number of flights. So I just went over and chit chat with them a little bit, and we talked. That's Cap Sean Knapp. If it's your first time seeing him, his face has been on my channel a lot. And before we flash him up, I'll tell you a little bit. Basically, when I had the desire to become a missionary pilot, I wanted to know what the life is all about. So what I did, I messaged him. So we know each other from back in the days in Wildwood from 2010. When I was a working student, he would come through on the campus with his wife at the press. So basically, I found out he's also in the Philippines serving as a missionary pilot. I'm just a medical missionary here. So I had reached out to him and I say, hey, before I go to flight school, I'm really curious, what is the missionary pilot life like? At the time, he had a Cessna 172 with 150 horsepower. So that thing was just so underpowered. On hot summer days, that thing barely would climb. So, anyways, I had spent 3 weeks with him at his base. And those 3 weeks gave me a sense of direction for the rest of my 7 year journey, then 2 more years to get my instrument. So he's been there all these years, helping me when I came over here. He's the one who orientated me in flying in the Philippines after I got my pilot's license. So shout out. It's a blessing to have somebody that can kind of hold your hand a bit and give you some input. Whenever the weather is a bit sketchy, I'll pull on him because he has more experience over here in the Philippines, and I'll say, "Hey, let's can you help me look at this weather and what are your thoughts, etc." So we make decisions together. What I didn't tell him was after the 3 weeks tagging along with him, I was able to fly about 10 hours. We did couple missions within a 10-hour flight period. I was so overwhelmed with the life that I left his base saying, I cannot do this. It's just too much. The weight of the flight was just too much for me. I remember the faces of the patients and the people, and I was so overwhelmed. I said, God, there's nothing in me naturally that can pull this off. So I said, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to find a way to give me the strength and the finances to pull it off. And I was grateful for that moment because what it says to me is if I'm going to ever be a missionary pilot, it's not going to be by might or by power, but it's going to be by his spirit and his provision. And so from the onset, I came to this missionary pilot journey very humbled, knowing that I don't have no aviation background, I don't have no relatives. So whatever the result is going to be, that's going to be on God. So that's why if you look in the description part of my page, it says there, the life I'm living is not one that I dreamt about. And it's only God who could really orchestrate and put this together. So that's Cap Shadnap. Shout out to him and his family for what they do. After the mission, guys, I got stuck in Palawan. So Nurse Jin has work Monday morning, I believe. This mission was done on a Sabbath. And so Sunday came, and this is the rain and visibility that we're dealing with. Couldn't fly. And we're just praying. So Saturday, we couldn't make it back Sabbath. And then Sunday came, it's the same thing. And then there's a ray of hope for Monday. But look at that stuff. And I already orientated you guys, but if you're new, this blue box here is saying this is a segment en route. It has embedded thunderstorm. it's an automatic no go for me. Once my line or route is going to take me into an area that has hidden thunderstorms, that's one of my no go decision. It doesn't matter who is dying, whatever their case, nothing matters. All that matters to me is there's embedded thunderstorm en route. I'm not flying that airplane because you're gonna run into stuff and you won't see it coming. When it cleared up, this is 7,500 feet heading home. We're below this layer and above this layer. So it cleared up and we were able to get back home. There was another request. So I messaged you guys that I was a bit overwhelmed. And that's because there was another request that popped up, but the weather is a challenge. And then time is of the essence because Nurse Jin has work Monday morning. And I was like, man, Lord, what do I do? But of course, I have to stay chill. I'm not going to go fly in no bad weather situation. But at the same time, it wasn't easy to just lay low. You're still thinking about these things. But nonetheless, we made good decision. We didn't put ourselves in any compromising situation of any sort. Shout out to Mom Jin doing an amazing job with these patients and the medevac and all these things. This is our upgraded Cessna 206. It's a six-seater airplane. I got my rating on it. And I'm featuring this part because I want to give a shout out to a special family. I'm not going to call their name, but he knows himself. He did an amazing job with this airplane with some upgrades, including a cargo pod. I want to say shout out to a special captain there on Cebu Pacific. You know yourself, Cap. He donated the cargo pod, guys. He donated the cargo pod for the 206. So we're really grateful for that. I haven't flown it since it got its modification, but I still have my rating. So hopefully one day I can go fly around in the thing. We'll see. Philippine Air Force was there at the hangar, and man, these guys. I wish I had a plane like that. So we passed by, and the airliners are going, and me, poor little me, is stuck in the airport. Can't go because I have a slower airplane. This is a little bit of flying now. We were picking up some rain on the windshield, so visibility dropped like that. We're not in the clouds or anything, just those of the moisture, and that's how you do it. When you're on you can't see outside, you're focused. So I'm not the one recording. Nurse Jin was the one shooting the video, and you just keep that scan going, checking your instruments. We're at 9,500, putting along. The next mission that popped up was one that was a little bit sad. It's Batanes, my favorite place to fly a mission, and it's one that was really just touched the heart. A young man didn't make it, and the family asked me to transport the body back home for closure with the family. So going back to base with Nurse Jin, shout out to Nurse Jin, awesome flight nurse. She's a reserve nurse. She should be here next week. Yes, we should have her with us next week on call for a couple of days. She finds way to break away from her job, get some free time, and come out and tag along with me on some mission as the reserve flight nurse. We're hoping that at some point she can come on board full time or more days in the week, but we're praying that she can make some more commitment. But until then, every time she comes through, we really enjoy the time she spent with us getting mission done. She's a grandma, as she doesn't show her age, but shout out to her and her grandkids and the rest of her family. Awesome lady to work with. Coming into Tui, so Palawan had all the ugly stuff in Palawan, but as I got closer and closer to Batangas, this was the beauty that that greeted me, right? And it was just way nicer here in Batangas. We got the mission done, and that's me heading out to Batanes on the 10th. So the next day, so I came back on the 9th. The 10th, I'm doing a cadaver transport. The previous mission you just saw took 6.5 hours to complete. This next mission, it takes 7.8 hours, almost 8 hours. I cannot do it in one day because you're not allowed to fly 8 hours within a day. You can maybe go up to seven, but not eight. And so whenever I go to Batanes for missions, um, the family usually provide me accommodation so that I have a place to rest and rejuvenate, revive, and then secure the plane, hang out for the night, and people will come and meet and greet and so on. So, belated condolences to the family. Peace. We were flying along at 7,500 feet from Tugigarao to Basco, which is an hour and a half flight. The weather was awesome. If you look in the background there, you can see the cloud layer. We're on top of it, blue skies for miles. And so that was really, really a good day for flying. The mission, heart wrenching a little bit because this young man didn't make it. I believe the illness was similar to Kobe. I think he had leukemia of some sort. We had to do a lot of coordination. So what was happening was, remember the conference I had scheduled. We had lodging, secure food, we had to do registration. So there was some finances into that youth conference. And here I am taking missions prior to the conference. Okay. And time is of the essence. Weather is playing with me as well. And I remember when I got back to base that particular day, Nurse Jin rushed off to catch work. And then I messaged the family and I said, I know we're scheduled for the next day, but is it possible that they can be ready today? And my contact said, okay, Cap, hold on, let me get back to you. And lo and behold, the family said, yes, they can be ready. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So that saved me a ton of time. Now, a little about Tuguegarao. It's the hottest part of the Philippines, guys. The hottest part of the Philippines is this place right here. The heat is intense. And when you have to come out here and refuel and all these things, trust me, you are in for a hot ride. You really got to watch your weight. It's a long paved runway, but density altitude is something that you really have to watch. So we were able to get the mission done, and shout out to all the management and staff of Basco Airport who continues to be there on hand to help to unload these patients and cadaver whenever I come in. You know, Batanes is my favorite place to fly missions, and whenever I go there, I have a special bond with the Ivatan people. Most of my followers is actually from Basco, Batanes, and so shout out to them. We'll continue to pray for this family as they go through their bereavement. And it was a young man, young person who happened to not be with us anymore. So I spent the night there at the Bosco, watching the clock. Look at that beautiful weather, but I couldn't fly back because I came from Palawan basically. So I did Palawan to base refuel, which took me over 2.5 hours, and then another 2 hours to get up to Kigarao from Batangas after refueling. This has an audio clip, so I'm gonna share that with you, and then another hour and a half to get to Batanes, and I only had one little 30-minute break there on the ramp. Um, this is not sweat, guys. I got wet in the rain because after I landed, rain came over the vicinity. So let's go outside the studio and pick up a little audio from this clip. Welcome to my favorite place to fly missions, Basco Batanes. I mean, but you know what though? Mostly when I come here, it's really on a sad note. Um, just brought a cadaver here.
the young man who died, and family needed closure, so I did it. I got wet in the rain, but it is what it is. So, find some food, place to sleep, and tomorrow do it all over again. Back to base. Yeah, man.
Yep. So that's it's a little vlog there. Those are like real content. So if you follow me, you'll see some of those time to time in reels. And as I was mentioning in the video, that um a lot of time the purpose of me going to Batanes is not the most luxurious. I don't even know what word to use, but it's these missions often. But amidst the sadness of the mission, there is still joy because the family, they end up having closure. This thing on my screen almost killed me. It's one of my favorite things to mess with when I'm hungry and I need to stabilize my blood sugar. But I have a joke. So for you guys who are Filipinos, I need to give you a little joke about it. Whenever I'm buying it, I walk into the store and I ask them, Mame, do you have Marites? And they're like, huh, sir, what? Marites? And then they will start to give me that look. Imagine a foreigner show up and he's asking if you have Marites. If you don't know what Marites is, you need to find yourself some Filipino friends urgently. Okay, not ASAP, but urgently, and say to them, "You're watching my live, and this missionary pilot says Marites. What is Marites?" Okay. And then so anyway, once they start cracking up and like they're like, Marites, the face is like, sir, what Marites? Sir, we don't have any Marites here, sir. So I say, ay, Martis, Martis, sorry, Martis. And you have to say it with a Filipino accent. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. They'll laugh pretty hard. So I want to tell you guys a little joke about this thing. You see how puffy the bag is? Okay, it's not supposed to be this puffy. There was one time I was flying, yes, that six-seater airplane. I was over the ocean. I just took off. I'm climbing out, and I heard an explosion. And I kid you not, guys, like I'm looking at oil gauge, oil temperature. Okay, what is going on? Did I lose a cylinder? Okay, I'm checking my bigger. Look how puffy that thing is. I didn't know. So it's after I landed, the pack of Martis burst on the plane, and it was in the back in my food bag. Okay, it was in the back and it popped. So I've learned now that whenever I have Martis or Marites, right, make sure it's in the front, not at the back. And usually Marites, it's at the back, not at the front. So so I'm flying along with this thing and it's puffy and it exploded. I don't know why this one didn't break, but anyways, I cracked it open and I feasted on it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's actually mimicking pork skin, but this one is made from green peas. So this is the vegan version of that. So it's just a funny thing. But anyway, that's a little side note thing for you. Um, about 3 hour, yeah, about 3.5 hour later, I was able to get in. Something happened en route when I was heading back from Batanes. An hour and a half after departure, I I basically got a text message. So my phone picked up internet. I got a message from my contact from Bosco. Shout out to you, Sir Edward. Sir Edward messaged me and he's like, Cap, are you still in Bosco? I said, no, I'm right over to Gigarao at 8,500 feet southbound back to Batangas. And basically, the message he sent me was one that said, someone died last night. So while I was there that night, someone died, and the relative was hoping that I could take the body to Tugigarao, which is an airport I pass, like almost straight overhead. I pass that airport. And I was like, Man, I wish they had contacted me a lot earlier. So I said to him, well, the weather going home, it's a little bit sketchy. That's one. Two, when I arrive at base, based on the time going on, I have to get my oil change. And so I was thinking, I cannot turn back because one, this patient or this person already died. So turning back is not going to save anyone's life. My oil change is not something I like to practice the ethics of passing my oil change. And then two, the weather was not going to hold if I turn back. And then three, I'm trying to get to this youth conference. So I messaged him and I said, honestly, I'm not able to turn back. And so I kept going and I apologized to them. I'm not able to help them out. And I said, if they can wait until like 4 or 5 days or so, then I'll be back after my conference and everything, and I can help the family at that point. Coming home, I ended up where the weather got sketchy and sketchy and sketchy and sketchy. Okay. And I ended up having to turn back. Eventually, I turned back. I didn't continue straight to base. I had to turn back and divert to my alternate because of weather. But it was just interesting because the weather up north was so beautiful. This is Sabtang Island. Shout out to the mayor of Sabtang. She's an awesome lady. I had the privilege of spending a night in Sabtang, and that's Bosco on the final approach, and that's the young man photo of him. So condolences to the family again. But shout out to some guys who always make life easier for me. Sir John, who works there at the airport. He's always the one come out greet me when he's on shift, and he'll help me to get that fuel up onto the wings. And that's Batanes the Beautiful. That's where I stayed, guys. It was my first time to stay there at that place, and I didn't pay for anything. So Pen Maya Hometel. If you're ever in Bosco, go check those guys out. Look at the room, awesome. It was enough for three, but I'm the only one, so I enjoyed it all by myself. He was the one who took me to the airport, so shout out to you, sir. Dios mamajes. You gotta learn a little Ivatan, guys. Dios mamajes. And it's interesting about Dios mamajes because it's to say thank you. But we all know Dios is God. So the Ivatans are very God fearing people, and it's in their language. Dios mamajes. Like Hes. Not Hes, but Hes. So thank you guys so much. You guys know who this is, right? Ate Arlene. Shout out to Ate Eileen and her daughter. They came, gave me some goodies as always. So thank you so much. Maraming salamat po. Dios mamaches. They always make my trip in Batanes one of memorable. Shout out to you, ma'am, for your hospitality, making sure I had everything that I needed during my stay there at Hometel. Southbound, that's what the weather looked like, guys. This is passing over Belair. No, not Belair. Oh, man, what's the name of this airport? Oh no, I forgot. Anyways, it's too early in the morning. But and I have a follower from here who is in the Caribbean in Cayman Islands. He's from this place. How could I forget the name? Anyway, if you know this airport, southbound after passing a beam Kawayan, what's the name of this airport, guys? Yeah, that's a quiz for you. So as I'm getting into Manila, I'm at 8,500 feet. I'm above this cloud layer. So VFR on top. I'm in contact with Clark approach and Manila approach, right? And I'm seeing this stuff. So I told them I want to stay above it a bit longer. I don't want to descend as yet. And so I'm watching this thing and watching this thing and putting along. And then boom, when I reach a beam, Sangli was open. And I'm looking down Pico de Loro, Nasugbu area, and there's this wall of rain. The visibility is dropping and dropping, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And then finally, I just pulled the plug and I turned back. And I'm gonna show you my tracker. So I turned back and I diverted to my alternate, which is Sangli, and that's the rain right there. You see that zero visibility, and that's something that you want to think about as a mission pilot. When you make decisions, you stick to it. If you see visibility dropping where you're going, always leave yourself a way out. So I'm like, okay, my alternate is right here. I can see it. I can't see beyond this wall of rain going down the coastline of Batangas, coming around Leon. Can't see that mountain and terrain and whatnot. So my alternate is clear. And I said, you know what, forget this. I'm going to pull the plug. I'm going to divert to my alternate. And I'm just going to wait it out. This was the what I saw in the distance. After waiting and I took off, this was it. Everything passed over, it cleared up. But then I had to really make it quick because it's gonna happen again. So it's a rainy season. Open and close, open and close. This is the time of the year where you always walk with at least an hour extra fuel in case you have to divert, instead you have in case you have to hold. You have to be prepared in this rainy season. Running into thunderstorm is not such so critical because if it's there, it's just there. But when this rain passes, it's like this occasional rain. Once it comes through, you just cannot see. And sometimes it will last for 15, 20 minutes, you know. And that's why if you ever get caved in, you want to have that fuel that you can hold for 15, 20 minutes and not lose in it and not run into a fuel situation. I just poked my eyes on my new oil cooler. Look at that, guys. Dry as the hills of Gilboa. Crispy. Nothing is leaking. So I'm stoked for that. This is my tracker. So I was coming southbound right here. So this is the line leaving. That's one leaving. This is the one coming back. And I made a turn here. So they were vectoring me away from the IFR traffic. And then when I came here, so this is Trece Marites or Marta Martyrs? Martyrs? Is that Anyway, so this is Mount Pico de Loro, and I couldn't see in this area. I created some waypoints, you know, to get in and out, but this mountain is about 1,800 feet. So at 2,500, you can pass and not clip anything. But when it's covered with clouds, you want to be at least 1,000 feet higher, or you stay on the shoreline, so lower altitude shoreline, and then you swing around to the south. I'm doing that, and I reach this point, and the rain is coming further and further towards me, which means that I don't know what's behind it and how long it's gonna last. So I said, you know what? So I just made a U-turn. I contacted Manila. I told them I'm diverting to my alternate. They cleared me for the diversion, and I went in. Then it became zero visibility with light rain, and that's how that went. My oil change was due, so I got that done. And here's a video pulling up at the hangar, which was nice. It was so good to be on the ground. I was stranded for about 2 hours at Sangli Point Airport, and shout out to all the management and staff of Sangli Point Airport. It's good to be at the base. That's when you will say mission accomplished, guys. When you pull up and you're in the hangar, that's when mission is accomplished for me. All right, moving on. We made it to the conference. So oil change came up, and we got that done. Added some oil, check everything, and then loaded up with the guys. And we head out to Bacolod on a 2-hour flight. So the weather early in the morning, again, sketchy weather, man. So I was up from like 4:30 monitoring this stuff. And then finally, boom, it happened. Cleared up enough to get out. And we were in blue skies for miles, guys. Look at that. That was the weather. 7,500 feet. I'm above and I'm below. And as I got closer and closer to Bacolod, it got clearer and clearer. I was in some clear air turbulence. Like at one point, I'm flying along and the wing went and like whoop, 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 whoop. And I was like, oh. Imagine you're there, it's calm and nice. The plane is not, no turbulence. And then you just get blown by this sudden wind and you're like, ugh. So it's usually very interesting. Shout out to these guys. Mom Jessica, if you know anything about Bacolod, guys, Bacolod Silay Airport, AAI, is the school that I walked into 2015, no, 2014 rather. I walked into this school, no money, no sponsorship, no idea what it's gonna take. And Mom Jessica still remembers me. So I always look forward to going there. So, Ma'am Jess, if you're watching, shout out to you. Good morning. They speak Ilonggo in Bacolod, so it's very malambing. Right. So, good morning, Mayong Aga. Yun. To you guys, shout out. And I always get to park across from them after landing, guys. After landing, look at that stuff. I mean, within 30 minutes of arriving, that is the hell that broke loose. And I was like, what in the world? This place, this weather, it's a rainy season. So it was just good to make it there. Okay. So I was sharing booth with Palmas and Farm Stew. I had some pictures going, and I went live, guys. I went live, so you guys definitely was keeping me company a bit. So thank you for that. And that's the booth. That's the booth. I got a chance to set up my monitor and loop some of my videos. I didn't have any merch for sale, but I noticed all the booth guys had caps and bags and shirt and hammocks and like even water bottle crochet holders. Like I felt so bad that I didn't have merch. And you know what? Couple people came and they were like, "Sir, do you have merch? That your I like your shirt. How much is it?" And I'm like, I didn't have any merch for sale. I didn't have the time or the finances to get into merch as yet. And I also need to find the right motive as well, which I have found it. So stay tuned, you'll hear more about that. I happened to meet a lot of people at this. So this was the team where we walked around day after day and we gave away free stickers and invited people to share, I mean, to follow along on our page, follow everything. So if you're from PYC 2025, good morning and shout out to you. Dave, maayong buntag kaigsonan. All right, that's Dave. Dave is from Group 2. Marjane is also from Group 2. Daniel is from Group 2. Melissa is from Group 2. We got Jocelyn. So that's us feasting and having this was a Sabbath meal that we came together for Sabbath lunch. And we had a feast and everyone enjoyed themselves. So that was a huge blessing for us to be able to meet up. Guys, you're not going to believe who I ran into at this PYC. I went to one of the breakout session. I sat at the gate, I mean the entrance, just wanting to give some stickers away. This old man, he likes to say he's an old man, stood up and he's walking out. The lecture is still going on, but he's leaving. And when he stood up, I said, no way. Guys, this is Uncle David. Oh, Dave, Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave is the guy who he has a mechanic's license from the US. And even though he has a cane and he likes to say, I'm an old man, um, he helped to put the plane together. So it was him and Mr. Richard who worked tirelessly for that 3 weeks. He's the one who painted the strut. He paints. And one of the thing I might have him do is paint something nice on the airplane. He's a very good painter, and so we had a wonderful time. So it was such a blessing to run into him. This plane was restored over a year plus ago, and it was our first time to reunite. So after he was finished helping Mr. Richard to put the plane back together, he went back to his place there in Bacolod. We never saw each other after that. And here we are at PYC, and that's where we ran into each other, and I had an opportunity to meet his wife. So it was such a huge blessing, guys, to be able to connect with him. One of the stories I heard was that all the pieces of the plane were just laying there on the floor, and he would take them and he's just praying, Lord, where does this go? Because for unfortunately, the person who pulled it apart was not around. So both Mr. Dave and Mr. Richard, brother Dave, I mean Uncle Dave, Mr. Richard, they had to really pick up the pieces and make them fit back together. It was really an intense stuff, but the feedback I got, especially from Kuya Ronald, was that Uncle Dave was always praying and asking God to guide him to figure out where the pieces fit. And Mr. Richard said, "Oh yeah, Dave, man, he was able to pick up those pieces and figure out." And then they were like, "Oh, Dave, I don't know where this go. Can you figure out?" So the plane got restored, and it was a huge blessing to run into him at PYC. Finishing up the Sabbath there, I got a chance to sit with these young people from Bacolod, and they gave me an opportunity to share with them a little of my story and ministry, etc. And so it was a huge blessing to be able to join them for their sundown worship on the grass here. I lived on this campus. For those of you who don't know, when none of you knew me, didn't have a pilot's license, didn't exist, I'm just buried somewhere on this campus in a faculty home. Life was interesting, but I got a chance to meet some friends who became family. And so going back to this campus, this was where it all began. Where I had the booth and where I sat, I was looking at the little two-bedroom upstairs, the gym, where I lived for a whole year plus. And I'm telling you guys, I used to sit up there trying to be on my simulator, focus with the games and being able to sleep and dust, the noise. But that's where everything all began. I used to be on my simulator for 200 hours per month. Yes. I was on a simulator that I built with a little laptop and a yoke, 200 hours per month, just hungering. I don't have money, but a simulator is free and I can spend time. And I wrote the lingo on the thing, the alpha, what do they call it? When you say Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, that kind of stuff. I had printed it out and I put it beside me on the wall. So when I'm on the sim, I'm looking at it and I'm memorizing, okay, A is for Alpha, B is for Bravo, and C for Charlie. So by the time I got to flight school 2 years later, I had a lot of stuff memorized. I was well acquainted with a number of things. And this boy is getting big. He's now 3 years old. And you see that? So this is something I noticed. You see that look he has on the gauges? This man, I'm gonna have to hide the key at some point. He's buried. He wants to learn to fly. So we got the guys out. Marjane's gonna head to Cagayan de Oro. Daniel will fly to Manila, and then all of us will board that 182 back to base. And people fell asleep. At one point, I'm the only one awake. Everyone was just knocked out. We had way better weather coming up, and we had a tailwind as well. So that pushed us pretty good. This was en route early in the morning, so I had to wait that out first. And we have some video clips that we want to share with you guys. And this guy loves airplanes, so we have to give him all the airplanes we got. At one point, when he got out of the vehicle to come to, he was going towards Cebu Pacific, thinking he's gonna board that stuff. We're like, no. It's like, Dada, we'll go to the Cebu Pacific. Nice. All right, so I came back, and work is work. I'm gonna show you that video clip. Don't move. But so weather wise, we were fine. We were out of the clouds. I passed these little monsters on the left, and I just veered off course a little bit. Because the plane was parked in the rain for those days at the youth conference, we had to dry the cover, and it's always a blessing to be back. So little maintenance every 50 hours. You have to pull the spark plug, check them if there's any lead deposit, clean those out, gap them, put them in, and then every 100 hours you'll rotate them around so they're used up in another cylinder. This torque wrench has a story to tell. It was donated by a awesome brother from Alaska, and it's electronic. So you program it, and then you torque. And once you reach a torque, it's green and it beeps. If you go over, it still beeps and it become red, and you gotta loosen that and get it right. So that's a huge tool. Doing the spark plug for me, I feel like it's kind of like getting your nails done. It's that spa day, it's like that's the feeling I have whenever I get the spark plug, clean them up. That's the feeling I get, like this is a spa and I'm getting the nails done, I'm manicure, I'm giving the airplane a nice manicure pedicure. So you clean up the edges and you make sure they're nice and clean, gap them, and then you throw them back in the airplane. Now, interested enough, even though the plane can be in the hangar, this is the morning. So I told Kuya Jean, I want to get some vitamin D. Let's pull the plane out, okay? And I want to be in the sun working on this though. I don't want to be inside the hangar because I wore shorts and man, there's a lot of mosquitoes in that hangar. So I said, I'm pulling it out. The mosquitoes don't like the sun. I like the sun. So I'm getting a couple of things, vitamin D, and I'm working on the plane. I'm sweating and enjoying myself. After I got that maintenance done, there was a mission that came up, guys. Yes, there was a mission that came up that I had to do. I just had to. You guys were really amazing with this one, and I want to thank you so much for your prayers. So this young man, he's actually, yeah, he's younger than me. I'm not an old man, so anyone younger than me is a young man, right? The my contact reached out to me and said, Cap, he needs to have a brain surgery and the family is asking for help. And I had to make some phone call and text messages to get some help for him. And I have one donor who's been with me now for over 4 years since pandemic. He's been there, hasn't left my side once. And he said, Davin, listen, if ever you need to help any family and they don't have anything to help, whether towards the fuel or something, he said, let me know what you need and I will do my best to help. Okay. And so he did. I reached out and I said, sir, I have a family that I need to help. And I told him the case. And he asked me what hospital they want, how much fuel it's going to cost. And then without any hesitation, he sent the money to my bank account. And I was able to get the fuel to go help this young man. And it was just a huge blessing. The weather was a bit of a challenge, and then finding a hospital for admission was also a challenge. So the fuel quickly was provided, but the weather and the admission to the hospital was really a challenge. And I wish you guys were there. Here's a video, and this video is it's going viral a bit. A lot of people has been sharing it, thousands and thousands of views. This is what my life looks like. um I don't let the people load the patient anymore. I'm the one doing it because when they're coming in with the stretcher, sometimes, especially when the person is heavy, sometimes they rest it when they're not supposed to rest it. And so if you listen, okay, we're gonna go listen to it, and you're gonna hear a word I keep saying, which is taas taas. It's up, 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 lift, taas, up, if my Tagalog is right. Anyway, so let's go, listeners.
Dash, dash, dash. Move around. To your right, go to your right way. That's the time. That's.
There you go. Got it. Nice. So, guys, it's not easy to load these patients, and the heavier they are, the more challenging it is because you got to come in at an angle and then make a turn. And then what used to happen is people who are bigger. So some of the guys who come in the ambulance, they're a lot bigger. They go in my tail, and next thing you know, my tail is touching the ground, which I do not like that. And so I know how far back to go to get them in there. So that's one of my new responsibility now, loading the patient myself and assisting them. We get the seat belt on, hook up the IV up top, and we got the mission done, guys. Got the mission done. When I landed, he's right there on my left side, right side, and he looked at me and he gave me a fist bump. And he said, Captain, thank you so much, brother. I owe you for this one. I said, you don't owe me anything. The social media family, I told him, I said, thousands of people all over the world is praying for you. They're praying for you, brother. And surprisingly enough, I don't know how this happened, guys. Whenever I share a mission, I mean, his face is covered, his name is not in none of my posts, but relatives were able to find my content and they are sharing it. They sent me messages telling me, thank you for helping my uncle, thank you for helping so and so, thank you, and they're praying for him. I haven't gotten any updates if he has done the surgery, if he's dead or alive. No updates on my end, but we're praying that the outcome will be one of a story that we will talk about for years to come. So thank you so much for your prayers, guys. It's really a blessing. Without it, I could not do none of these things. Okay. We're almost at the end, so we have one more mission, and then we're gonna be closing off. You're getting 3 weeks in a row, and I'm really glad that the internet is functional right now. So I need to get it done outside. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna fly. The visibility is so poor already. You guys like this? One of my followers sent it to me. Faith it till you make it. Dude, I was like, whoa. If you don't know the original term, you're not a millennial and you're in a whole nother generation all by yourself. But the original thing says fake it till you make it. So some genius follower of mine was I don't know, creative enough to make this. Now guess what? I want a shirt. I want a shirt with this on it. And one of my donor, brother of mine, man, we're family now. He sent me he commented on on this post and he said, you need to frame that thing. So I'm gonna frame it. I'm waiting for the original file because I got this through WhatsApp. So I'm waiting for the original file so that I can frame it. And I want to throw it on a t-shirt and see what it looks like. Faith it till you make it. Merch unlocked. Yes, this is definitely gonna be a merch. Faith it till you make it. I was looking at the detail, this thing and the beard and the watch. I was cracking up. And the person who sent it to me thought I was making fun of the work. But no, it's just it's very humorous, flying by faith. Faith until you make it. Anyways, I like it. It's really a blessing. All right, moving on. So this is the 24th, I believe, of June, where it's time to take the plane to my buddy so that he can go in with the camera, take another introspective look because he's going to be out for 3 months. And he's the one who taught me all these baroscoping stuff. So I loaded up with fuel. But knowing me, I always think to myself, what if after the maintenance is complete, I get a request? So I make sure I have the bed and I have oxygen. And going on this leg, I decided to top off my fuel. So I had 89 gallons of fuel. I was live. Some of you guys would have heard the conversation. I'm climbing out about 5,500, about to cross over Mindoro when my phone is ringing and it's Nurse Nanette. Now, let me tell you a little about Nurse Nanette. Nurse Nanette is a nurse there in Cuyo Island. She just retired, I think, this year. And whenever she calls me, like if my phone rings right now and it's Nurse Nanette, the next thing I'm gonna be saying is, Captain, when is your ETA? Like, or she'll say ETA. When is your ETA, Captain? Because she's everything. It's all good to go, and I just have to tell her what time I'm gonna arrive. So when she was calling me, I was like, oh man, okay. So I had parts in the airplane. I am prepared with the bed and everything, but it's gonna be a tight squeeze for the relative and the nurse and their bags, right? So I said, okay. So I contacted Manila. I mean, I had signal, which was good. So I had signal, and my Bluetooth headset is connected to my phone. So I was able to take the phone call, and she told me, Captain, we have a MR patient, which is something with the heart. And I said, yes, ma'am, I can do it. So I broke off from where I was going. I changed I altered my flight plan over the radio, contacted Manila. I said, I need to amend my flight plan. My destination has changed, and I'm going here because I just got an emergency request for a medevac. It didn't, it threw me off a little bit for when I get there and the work needed to be done. But it was a huge blessing to be able to help save someone's life um, on the scheduled time. So this is not the actual mission. This is actually the nurse from the young man that we helped to get the care that he needed. So we have some more merch unlocked, and we're having fun with cameras. So I had sent this post to you guys. So this is over Mindoro because on my original route, I would have to be going around stuff. So with the diversion, it was good because I ended up being on a course that took me way farther away from the weather that was pending on the right. There was a low pressure system on the right of my track that I would have to be doing like this a little bit. But with the new route, make a 30 degrees turn to the left off heading for the original to the thing. And I'll show you what the original would have looked like. On the approach, little cloudy, but I altered my course. And this, after picking up the patient, I got in there, and that was a mission. Got it done. And then I file a flight plan and I head to base. But that was the very interesting stuff. So, guys, this is my box. I have my baroscope, I have my toric wrench, and I was able to fit everything in there just so that I could get that mission done. Now, watch this thing, guys. I'm telling you, I'm a fan of the rainy season because it keeps me on the edge, but it really challenges my decision making. So here's the story. I'm flying along at um, 4,500 feet. Okay, I'm at 4,500 feet, and I'm over the shoreline, sandwiched between these layers of clouds. To my left, beautiful blue skies for miles, but over the mountainous terrain, southbound going to Brooks, you have these stuff. And at one point, my radio got staticky, and you know what I saw? Lightning flashed, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I mean, I have 4 hours of fuel left. It's only a 40 minutes to get to the base. And here I am, putting along shoreline, and I'm looking at lightning coming out of those clouds. And I'm like, stay away from the mountains as far as you can. So I was messaging with base and I'm like, hey, you guys sure it's clear? Because I cannot see the base. I'm like, shoreline, shoreline, shoreline. And they said, yes, it's sunny here. It's clear. Come on in. I was like, all right, cool. I have the landing, by the way, and someone captured my landing as well. And trust me, it had rained there. So even though it's clear, the runway was very soggy. Okay. Within 30 minutes, or less. Yeah, less than half an hour after I landed, guys. That's the visibility with rain. So it closed up. And that's what I'm saying about this rainy season. You have this window that you take it now or it's not going to be there. And then when it pours like this, sometimes it's an hour, two, 30 minutes. It depends on how wide the rain is. So it was just a huge blessing to get in. So here's my tracker. When I broke off and I accepted the mission, I went blue, diversion. The red is my original track that I would have flown had I continued straight without that mission. But the weather was right over here. So there was a low pressure system right over here. And it was slightly close. It was close to track, within 10, 15 miles of my track. So when I got the turn to go south, so the south east, um, I flew way further away from that system. So these are the guys we got there. It's time to get the plane all taken care of, and we dug into it, and that's where I'm going to close my report. We have Ray Sikich and Zachariah Bowman, these guys, and we had Clear as well. Brother Norman came around a bit. And we just went in with the camera, just digging through this airplane, trying to get everything out of these guys before they go. So Ray's off for vacation for a while, and Zach is around. I'm gonna show you the airplane that I want to learn how to fly, guys. Yes, I want to learn how to fly this bird. So I have been promised that sooner or later, when Ray gets enough, experience, he's a CFI, so he's gonna help me. So I stayed with him and his family, and this is what they fly: super stall. Look at this bird, guys. Nice. Oh, 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 climb, climb, climb. So they do airdrops. That was Ray taking off. So when they cannot land in the mountains, they will do airdrops. And this is a video I captured with him coming in for landing. It's a tail dragger. And he only used like maybe 1 gallon of fuel to go up in the mountain. Look at that stuff. Nice. This thing land and stop on a dime. Okay. Beautiful bird. Really nice. And I happen to know the person who built it and donated it over the Philippines. The story behind it is that the Pastor Kent George of AFM, he basically was praying for this. He was praying for this airplane for over 20 years, and he finally got the answer to his prayer after 20 years. I did interview the mechanic who put it together and donated it to them, and he's an amazing guy. I mean, to be able to put that up in the mountains, they hike for days with this airplane. They can bring cargo, medevac, and so many different things. And as I said, when they cannot land in the mountains, they'll do airdrop. I've seen some of their video where they drop something outside. It has a little parachute, and it's like right there where it needs to be. Really nice. They just had a new strip built. I don't know how many years it took them, but they do have a new strip that was built. So they're going into that. Let's keep that in prayer. The rain fell and damaged a little bit of it. But nonetheless, they're doing their best to keep going. So if ever I get my tailwheel endorsement, it would be to take a break from this plane and go fly some missions up in the mountains, bringing like fuel and food and medicine and those different things. So Zach has a lot of experience with these adapters to give me a different oil filter. So I have a different oil filter now, guys. I can take my oil up to 50 hours, no more 25-hour oil change. And I'm curious now to see how the oil burn is gonna be for it. However, because the filter came on within the 25-hour period, what I'm going to be doing is when at 25 hours, which is about 10 hours from now, I'm going to change that oil so that the filter will start a fresh 50 hours. So at another 10 hours, we'll do the 25-hour change, even though the filter is enough to go to 50. We'll change it because this thing didn't put, so I mean, you get the point. So Zach was able to do that. Now we picked up a couple of things. I don't know if I have the pictures, but the ceiling. Yes, here we go. Okay, so if you're a mechanic, you would know what's going on here. Guys, this valve is not turning as it's supposed to. So what you look for is you look for how the layer is. It's supposed to be a bullseye. See where it breaks off here on this side? Not good, right? You're not gonna fall out of the sky, but this is something that's starting and it's gonna continue to deteriorate if it's not remedied. I have a video of what it took to remedy this. It is so cool. So shout out to my donor who went up to Oshkosh last year and he got me a Boroscope, the latest model, hooked it up to my phone, and I have a colonoscopy view of what's going on inside the cylinder, and it was just amazing. So what we did was we lapped the valve. We got something, put it underneath, clean it up, spin it so that whatever gunk and stuff is built up that is preventing it from turning. So it's going like this, but as it's going like this, it also turns. Okay. And if it's not turning right, that's where spots will get burned and the bullseye gets deflected. Yes. So we remedied that. We'll keep an eye on it. That's one cylinder. So that's fixed. The second one is I don't have a picture here, but when we went in on number 4 cylinder, there's a guide. So imagine, let's see here. So this is the thing that comes down. There's a guide around it. So as it's going in and out, there's a guide around. The guide is slightly worn, meaning when it sits, so when the cylinder sit, it will move a little bit. It's supposed to just sit, right? It can have a slight movement, but not too much. The movement it has, it's one that will continue over time. So I started praying and he said, hey, you have two options. We don't have the dynamics to change that guide in the Philippines. You have to heat up the thing and then freeze it and then pull it up and then check this and that. It's so meticulous. And he said, bro, listen, I don't have the expertise or the tool to mess with that. So your best and safest option is pull the cylinder off and put a new one on it and not worry about it. And so I said, okay, so how much is that? He said, it's about $1,200. I said, oh man, the insurance is coming up. 1,200 bucks extra on insurance, which is 2,250. That's like 3,550. I'm like, 400. So I was like, oh, no, no. But anyway, I just shared the need. I said, guys, help me pray, and within 2 minutes of posting, God provided the $1,200 to get that cylinder. So this is Ray Sikich, that's Zach in the back. They're laughing because he said something funny. He said, man, you on my picture, I'm an ugly guy. I said, man, you ain't ugly. Guys, comment below. You think this guy is ugly? Let me know in the comment section, and then I'll screenshot your comment without your name, and I'll tell him all the people who follow me who does not agree that he's not an ugly guy. Special guy. He's a brother, a fellow missionary pilot, and a friend, a mentor. When it comes to my experience in the mechanic and maintenance world, this is the guy right here. taught me a whole lot of stuff. And he stretched himself. Guys, leave a nice comment for him in the comment section. Here's why. He's going to go on vacation for 3 months. And this is the night before he starts his journey with his wife and three young little kids. Okay. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, man, prep the plane. I'm going to come lap your valve for you." And we finished 10 p.m. in the night. When we got back to his house and we showered and got ready for bed, it was like midnight. Okay. And I was saying to him, "Man, whatever touched your heart to stretch yourself. I know you have a long travel coming up to get to the States with your young family. And for you to sacrifice these wee hours of the night with Zach, burning the midnight lamp just to help me with the airplane." I said, "Man, I cannot repay you. Words is not enough to say how grateful I am." So he did that. And I messaged him. I said, "Did you get into the States? Everything all right?" He said, "Yeah, we just got into our place." So shout out to Ray and his family. We'll be praying for their journey for the next couple of months as they take a break. He worked himself like the morning when he's gonna start his travel, he went out flying a mission to drop some stuff off up in the mountain. And that's just the people I'm surrounded with, people who are willing to go the extra mile. So if you're still watching or you're watching later on, leave a nice word of encouragement and keep the Sikich family in your prayers because they're awesome people. That's what he's flying, and he's willing to teach me how to fly it. So yeah, I want to learn, because this beast is a huge blessing up in the mountains of Palawan. Special shout out to Miracle Air with Sir Brother Norman. As soon as I landed, he invited me with his family. We met at Farm Stew Training. He invited me with his family. He said, "Davin, glad you made it." Then he was on the radio and he was texting me on WhatsApp of what's going on. He's like, "Hey, there's some rain coming." And I saw it and I'm like powering renter speed. And him and his family blessed me with a meal when I arrived. So thank you guys so much for that awesome meal. They gave me some vegan cake. Ah, that stuff was so good. They gave me some sushi, but I'm not a fan of sushi. But I told them my love language is this cake, not sushi. So anyway, thanks to you guys. I know his kids watch me, so shout out to you. It was nice to talk and meet with his family. Huge, awesome people. This was the flight going home. Basically, after everything was done, um, it was a huge blessing to be able to fly back home. So weather was not good enough to continue for the entire day. So I got stuck in Puerto. So I did the first 45-minute leg. Zach and I, we were on board. We checked everything. It was good. But then we had a little issue. Something on the inside started leaking down to the floor. And I was like, this is not good. This is not good. What is it? We did some investigation after arriving at base, and it's this oil sender thing. It sends a signal of the oil pressure. So it's connected to the line. They have a T junction. And I'm looking at it. We thought the leak was from here before, but then upon careful inspection, we realized no, it's from the sender because you see all this oil leak in here onto the terminal. It's like, this is sketchy. So anyway, cleaned it up, went for a test flight, and look at that stuff, guys. I mean, not a speck went to the floor. My oil pressure is there, oil temp is there for the analog and the digital. So that thing came with the plane, and apparently it's not hooked up to anything because yeah, we traced that wire. It was just, I think they put it on originally with the intention to connect it to an instrument, but that instrument wasn't added yet. So it got old and worn, and I'm guessing that yeah, it just started leaking. So anyway, that wasn't gonna work at all. And this is the takeoff for the test flight, and that's where this report ends. I went out and Kuya Jean, shout out to him. He was able to capture my test flight. So this is a takeoff. All right, nice. I mean, I never get tired of that song, guys. It's just, I just never get tired of it at all. Um, so yeah.
Motorcycle riders on the runway. Hey, Nakopo.
Okay, this video is no joke, guys. You're not gonna see them because they moved. But when you do a test flight in the evening, like around 4:35, that's when people come and walk down the strip. There were two motorcycle right here fooling around. We're echoing at them. So I'm like, okay, I'm prepared for a go around. Hopefully they will get the cue from Kuya Jean, hear the alarm, and get off the strip. And they did. They got off. And let's watch this landing. A lot of you like the landing. You say it's pretty smooth. It was. It was. I really greased it. Winds are calm, full flaps, and I came in around 55 knots. I really came in slow as I'm light. I only have like 20 gallons of fuel on board. Yeah, so there they are. They're not there anymore. Hold off, hold off. Close the door. Hold off, hold off. And then there we go. Touchdown, guys. Awesome. And we got the stuff that we needed to get. So that's a huge
All right, guys,
blessing
if you
for us.
like that landing, please give a favor, follow. That was Grease Batada Bata. That was butter, guys. Butter, butter, butter.
Hurry up.
Anyways, we'll wait for cuisine after landing. Bagasca.
Alrighty, guys. So yeah, that was how the report ended. All right, let's go over to our Q&A session. We've been here for an hour and a half. So that's what's happening. That's the mission. So basically, we did one, two, three, four, five missions, six missions, and that would have taken us about 25 hours flight time to get all those five missions done. It was we did a cadaver transport, we did three medical transport, and we did a maintenance run and also a church appointment to a conference there. That's a summary for this week. Let me go over to the comment section and entertain the awesome feedback that I've been getting from you guys. Want to say shout out to those who have been watching on my Instagram. I am live on Instagram. Guys on Instagram, run over to my Facebook or YouTube channel because sooner or later this is gonna shut down. I don't have a charger with me to plug in. Sorry. So the feed on my Instagram is gonna die. It only has 1%. So when it dies, you know where to find me if you want to hear the rest of the report. Um and I have a song that I'm gonna play for you guys. But just before we do that, let's take the Q&A session. Right? And there's a question that I've been waiting to answer for the longest time, and the time has come. Ta da da da. All right, so big up Roots man, Lex Will. This is definitely a Jamaican. Big up Roots man with the Jamaican flag. Big up yourself to my boy. One love. And he's praying for me. Thank you for those prayers, man. Awesome. Marlon Moody. Marlon Cito Moody. Happy Sabbath. I got to go, but I'll listen later. God always has your back. Amen. Happy Sabbath to you as well. I did hear a notification pop in, but I don't see anybody. Okay. Some comments came in from my personal account. Marites, ha 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 ha. Hey, Steve Daly, Wagwan, Lauren, shout out to you. Maria, she tagged Hannah Klassen. Okay. All right. Maria Lynn, which is from Group 2, she's asking if I answer the quiz, Kuya, is there an award? Yeah, there's an award. If you get the answer, tell me what airport is that that I pass over. Yeah, I can give you a gift. It's fine. Yeah, we had Sabbath lunch. God bless Kuya. Justin, shout out to you. Good morning. Hope you and your mom are doing awesome, and you guys are fine there. Let's see. Yep, that's all the thing I have. So anyway, Q&A session. That's it. Any other comments or question you guys have? There's one here that I'm just raging to answer, and I'm ready for it. I hope Jerry P is watching this week, or he will see this video. Here's a question, guys. 3 weeks ago, he made this comment on one of my live feed. He said, "So if the name of the ministry is Flying by Faith, why are you afraid to fly in low visibility? Shouldn't our faith guide us to trust Jesus in the midst of the uncertainties?" I am not trying to be funny, but he is funny, even though he's not trying to be funny. And I'm going to be nice with my response. So, a couple of things. Let's break it down. The name of the ministry is Flying by Faith. Okay, flying by faith, it's not a term for presumptuousness and carelessness. Just to clarify that. Flying by faith came about because I didn't have the financial means. I didn't have calculated how I'm going to become a missionary pilot. So it was really a journey of faith, okay? Meaning I'm going to do what I can, but it's going to take some miracle along the way to make this dream become a reality. And so even though the name of the ministry is Flying by Faith, it is not a license to act presumptuously. All right. He said, "Why are you afraid to fly in low visibility?" It's not about fear of flying in low visibility. It's a matter of practicality and common sense. Even though we pray, it doesn't mean that you don't have common sense. And God has given us a brain, and He's given us a level of intellect and wisdom, and we should use it wisely. Okay. If I'm going somewhere and the visibility is poor, it's possible that low visibility can become zero visibility. You cannot land with zero visibility. Some of the places I go to, the airport is down in a valley. If the visibility becomes zero, there are mountainous terrains that you cannot see that you're going to hit, right? And so common sense says, yes, Lord, I'm praying that you will open the weather and make it possible to see the terrain so I can avoid it and touch down and land where I need to be. That's my faith, not presumptuousness, okay? So it's not a matter of fear, it's a matter of common sense. I'm not going in places where there's an instrument approach. I have to go in there visual flight rules or VFR, okay? So he said, shouldn't our faith guide us to trust Jesus in the midst of the uncertainty? Yes, but here's a practical example. The weather forecast says that there are embedded thunderstorm en route, right? Embedded thunderstorm en route. My faith is I'm going to pray and stay on the ground until it clears up, because if God wants me to go, He's going to clear that stuff up first. I'm not going to presumptuously fly into thunderstorm saying, Lord, you said that faith and you will protect. No, because if you know anything about the Bible, that was one of the temptation that the devil threw at Jesus. He said, dash your he put him on a cliff and told him to jump off because angels will be sent to rescue him. And Jesus was like, that's not how it works. Even if I dash my foot against a stone, yes, angels will there, but I'm not going to deliberately throw myself over a cliff and then ask God to give me a parachute. It's just presumptuousness. So in my response to this guy, I said, clearly I can tell that Jerry P447 is not a pilot, because no pilot in their right mind would say something like this. So when you're not a pilot, you're dealing with a world that you don't know much about. And so I decided, you know what? I couldn't wait to answer this one. I don't need to use any derogatory terms. I don't need to get angry or upset. I see this as an opportunity to enlighten this person's darkness and ignorance. So while the name of the ministry is Flying by Faith, I don't have fear of flying into low visibility. I have common sense and wisdom and 7 years experience to say there is no wisdom and safety in throwing yourself in that situation to begin with. Our faith is not there to throw us into certain situation. If it happens and you're there or you're going through something, oh yes, faith is trusting God in uncertainties, but presumptuousness is not uncertainties. Those are man-made trials that you may live and have a testimony, or you may not live to see the outcome of your stupidity. And so, as you said, you're not trying to be funny, and neither am I trying to be funny. So it was a nice one. I love that. I look forward to having more of that. So that's the Q&A session. Any other comments or questions you guys have? If you don't, while we're waiting for more, there is a song that I would like to play for you guys, and it really ties in with the experience I had this week. Just before I played the song, we had an amazing experience this week with donation that came in. So I posted the need for the insurance and for the cylinder, and within 2 minutes, God bless. So go check out that story. I wrote it up nicely on my Facebook. But for those who are watching on YouTube who might not have Facebook, here's the story. This gentleman, I won't say his name, basically, he oh wow, it's raining outside, so I know for sure I'm not flying. So I gotta head to church, eat breakfast, and go to church shortly. So what happened was this gentleman donated. I mean, he reached out to me that he wants to donate the 1,200 for the cylinder, and I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. Can I know the story behind? So we were on a video call, and what he shared with me really touched my heart. He said, I had a need before and he was impressed to give, but he shied away from it. Then found himself wasting the same amount of money that he was impressed to give that I needed. And so, as a Christian, he said, Lord, I'm sorry for wasting the money that I should have given to this missionary for something for his airplane. And he said, Lord, if you could ever give me another opportunity to donate to this ministry, I will never hesitate again. So he sat down to do some work on his computer. And as he sat down, my notification popped up. He looked at it, and that's the need for $1,200 for the cylinder. And he immediately donated it. We already got the confirmation that it's donated. And I shared with him and I said, I'm really inspired by this testimony because what it says to me is God doesn't just use the nice Christian who are so loving and so generous and kind. He also used struggling Christian, people who might slight an opportunity today, repent tomorrow, and ask God for a second opportunity. And one of the things that inspired me as well is the fact that I was hesitant because it's money and my struggle, right? But when I put it out there and he responded, I was like, wow, if I didn't swallow my pride and ask for you guys to pray for me for this need, this donor would have always been praying over and over, dealing with the regrets and the bad feeling of how he didn't give when he was supposed to, praying and hoping that a second opportunity would present itself. And so his story is teaching me that these needs, it's not about me. It's about an opportunity that God is putting in place where I'm praying, he's praying, and both of us got the answer to our prayers. He pulled up his journal. So he journals, right? He pulls up his journal and he's looking at, he has a caption for it. He says, things I'm grateful to the Lord for. And would you believe it? The last time he updated his journal was June 26, I think 2023, something like that. So it was a memorable thing for him. And he read the things for me that he's grateful for. By the way, his grateful for was not things he already got, it was things that he would like to have. And on that list, one of the items was he said, Lord, I'm grateful for the opportunity to support missionary work and missionaries and what they're doing. I was like, wow, you know. So he had given thanks years ago for something that fulfilled on the exact month and day that he had updated his diary. And he's like, I can't make these things up. I said, brother, you sure can't. So let's keep him in our prayers. Awesome guy. We're going to connect, and he's now a part of the social media family that keeps us going. Here's a song that really complements this week, guys. It complements the week. If you have any comments, post them below. We'll take them on. Yeah. The title is My Shepherd Will Supply My Need. Wow. Praise the Lord. Guys, the sure provisions of my God attend me all my days. Oh, may your house be my abode and all my work be praised. Here would I find a settled rest while others go and come. No more a stranger or a guest, but like a child at home. This is a very deep song. This is a very deep song. It ministered to my heart this week, and I hope and trust that it will do the same for you. I don't see any more comments from my personal side or Facebook or YouTube, so we are going to definitely um we're gonna pray, guys. We're gonna pray, and we're going to pray for you guys. We're gonna pray for the donors. We're gonna pray for the families we're able to help on this report, and we're gonna definitely give God thanks that He has provided for us one more time over and over. There's different things going on, but nonetheless, we will keep going, and we'll be able to come together and commemorate and to celebrate where we raise our Ebenezer. 3 years, guys. Now, we can't afford to miss this opportunity, whether virtually or in person, if you can. Here's why. We're going to be summarizing 3 years, all the missions. So you'll have some statistics, some data of how many missions we've flown, how many hours we've flown, how much money this plane has found itself, where it has incurred. We're going to be looking at all those things. So we're going to be looking back at the last 3 years, and we're going to be eating some food on site. The guys are pumped up, they're excited. It's a lot to be done in a short period of time. If I do fly this Medivac mission, which takes me 2 days, I'm hoping to be back on the 3rd to join, I mean, the 2nd of July, to join that celebration. So for those who cannot join us in person, we're going to definitely record enough to share the moment with you, right? And I'm sure you cannot wait to hear about that, of God's leading over the last 3 years. We're so happy and excited to know that this little airplane continues to do amazing things for the purpose of saving lives and delivering hope as we touch each heart rather with each mission. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this morning report. Thank you that the internet was stable enough after 3 weeks, and that there's no flight, where I could come on here, sit down, and share with the world that you always provide. Lord, we see that you will use any heart that is susceptible and willing to be used by you. And so we thank you for each donor, the ones who donated to buy this airplane, the ones who donated to restore it, the ones who donated to maintain it and sustain it, the ones who continue to donate monthly so we can offset our expenses and be able to have the financial means to keep going. Lord, please bless each donor. The ones who have joined this month, Lord, with their financial support to offset some of these expenses that is coming up one at a time, please bless them in return for what they've given to the work. We ask that you may touch hearts so they're to be able to help us so we can have our insurance money for the July coming up. And we just, Lord, put that need in your hands. And we know that the same God who provided for the cylinder can also provide for the insurance. We pray for your blessings to be with the social media family, those who continue to watch and to react and to comment and to share the content and to follow along. Lord, please bless them tremendously. Help them to have a wonderful weekend. I pray, Lord, that they may glean hope and faith from watching these videos and these experiences of how you continue to provide, that when they go in prayer and to talk to the God of flying by faith, may they also experience miracles in their lives. If there's anyone, Lord, watching that is not doing so well right now, whether financially or physically or socially or spiritually, please bring about a breakthrough in their life today. Touch them with your healing hands. Provide for them one more time. Guide them, protect them, and bless them. And we just continue to be grateful to you for all the manifold blessing that you've poured out upon us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I love you guys. You've been awesome and amazing. Stay tuned for more updates. And before you go, as we know, our promise text is verily, verily, I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto me. So um that lady in her 90s who had a broken leg that we transported, that was doing it for God. The person who had their relative died in Batanes and the family needed closure, that was doing it for God. The individuals that we met at the youth conference, the plane made our travels a lot easier. And we were able to pray for a lot of people there. We met some wonderful young people with awesome testimony. The speakers that we met, an opportunity to share with them as well about how God has been providing, and also the two medical transport that was done during this report. God was the one that we did it for, and that's why he continued to pour out his blessing upon us. The blessing is not just for me, but it's also for you guys as well, because had it not been for your prayers and your support, none of these things would be possible. So on behalf of Philippine Adventist Medical Aviation Services, the Flying by Faith social media family, we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Daghang salamat. Muchas gracias. And I don't know what is in French, but we just want to say love and thanks. Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody. Walk good. Have a wonderful weekend. Mabuhay from the Philippines. Don't touch that dial. We have something special to share with you before you go. And you know where to find me, right? So check out my website, shoot me an email, comment on this video. Let's keep in touch. Let's partner up together as we continue to touch each heart with each mission. Blessings, one love, walk good, everybody. Yeah, man.